Hello everyone, and welcome to the novelette Wolf's Hunter by Bernadette Tivacci. This is Chapter 2, Wolf. Jory, come sit over here, you lazy bastard, and have a drink with me, Wolf called out as she spotted her friend across the bar. Jory frowned at Wolf, but he headed over, mug of stout beer in hand. He sat down on the stool next to her and glanced around before shooting Wolf a serious look. You shouldn't have killed that man back in Briley, Wolf. Lord Caden is a powerful enemy with deep pockets, and you didn't need to add to your growing list of people who want you dead. Bah! Wolf waved a hand at him and took a long drink from her own mug. What did you want me to do, Jory? Guy used a knife on me in a cestus match. Cestus means no weapons allowed, or did you forget? No, I didn't forget, but you lost control and shifted, Wolf. Shifters aren't welcome in cestus matches either, in case you forgot. Touché, Jory. Though for the record, that's a dumb rule. As long as we're in human form, I don't see the problem. Wolf shrugged, pushing a lock of hair that had escaped her messy braid behind one slightly pointed ear. We aren't that different. Yeah, well, you didn't stay in human form, did you? He cut me with a knife. Wolf glared at her friend. Whose side are you on here, mate? Jory took a long pull of his beer, then closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Word on the street is, Caden hired the hunter, Wolf. Wolf choked on her beer. What? Hunter, as in giant devil dressed in black, always finds his target, loves killing shifters most of all. That hunter. Did you know of another one? Jory asked dryly. The color drained from Wolf's face. Well, shit. So what are you going to do? Jory arched a brow. Get the fuck out of here for starters. Catch you later, Jory, and thanks for the tip. Coins clattered as they were slapped down on the bar, and in a blink Wolf was outside, doing her best to blend into the crowd and head south. Once outside the city, the southern road would take her to Evermore Wood and the vast wilderness beyond. Maybe there she'd have a chance. Wolf's heart hammered in her ears, and her green eyes darted nervously as she reached the inn she'd been staying at. Stealthily, she slipped up the stairs and paused to listen outside of her door. She sniffed the air for... She suddenly felt stupid. Not like she'd know what the hell's hunter smelled like, and she prayed she'd never find out. After carefully entering her room and finding it undisturbed, she gathered up her travel pack, yanked on her oversized green cloak, and then she paused, thinking. Carefully, Wolf raised the rickety window and slipped out of it instead, scaling furtively down the inn's rough outer wall before dropping the last few feet and ducking into an alley. No sense in taking chances. Nerves singing, adrenaline pumping, Wolf tried to move stealthily through the crowds and choose routes that were the least conspicuous. From what she knew of Hunter, he was likely already closing in on her, and every step she took from now on would count. This wasn't like her battles in the gladiator arenas. Those too could be life or death, since she did terminus matches as well as cestus if the prize was big enough. But in those battles, at least, she knew the rules and knew how to play the game. In this life-or-death struggle, however, she felt as if she were going in blind against an opponent who always had the home field advantage and was undefeated. Goosebumps broke out across her clammy skin as she yanked the cloak's hood down low as it would go to cover her face, and she walked faster. The sight of a wide-brimmed black hat above the crowd nearly caused her heart to explode before she realized it was only a preacher sitting atop a wagon bench, giving him the illusion of the hunter's towering height. Fuck! She hissed through her clenched teeth, and her soft deer-hide boots picked up the pace until at last she was out of the southern gate and on the open road. Here she began to jog, and then to run. Folks gave her queer looks as she flew past them, but she didn't care. They weren't being hunted by a demonic giant with a penchant for black clothes and murdering people for money, especially shifters. Just this once, she'd rather not be someone's preferred pick, at least not that someone's. Wolf's eyes were huge in her oval face, a feral sort of panic clear in her hunted expression. As the wide country road narrowed and open fields gave way to a thickening evergreen forest, Wolf ran on. She ran until the sun sank below the horizon. Then she cut from the main road and headed by instinct to the distant mountains. She ran until the moon rode high in the velvet sky full of stars. She ran until her legs began to buckle beneath her, and her breath sawed in and out of her lungs painfully. At last, as the deep black of night began to bleed into the gray tones of pre-dawn, she collapsed to her knees. Gulping sobs racked her body as she crawled as far back as she could into a blackberry thicket. Wolf curled herself into the fetal position and willed herself to stop crying even as she shook uncontrollably. She was terrified, hungry, and her sides ached from running, but damn it, she wasn't going to give up. Closing her eyes and breathing deeply, she reminded herself who she was. She was Wolf, daughter of a barbarian chieftain and a wolf-shifter mother, neither of which had been super imaginative when it came to naming their offspring, but both of whom had taught her how to survive anything. She was Wolf, the most famous female gladiator for at least 5 kingdoms around. She sniffed hard and swiped at her cheeks, expression turning from terrified to determined. She was Wolf, and she'd be damned if some big scary ape with a vendetta against wearing color was going to take that away from her. She snarled quietly, her eyes bleeding to yellow and her canines lengthening. She was Wolf, and she wasn't going to lose this battle without one hell of a fight. Mind made up, she drew her cloak tight around her, closed her eyes, and allowed herself to rest. This was one battle she might not win, but by the gods, by the time it was finished, Hunter would remember her name. And that is the end of Chapter 2, Wolf.